Thus far, we always used default inputs, default controls HTML gives us. There's nothing wrong with that. Chances are high that this will cover all you need. But let's say you want to build your own. You want to build your own input. Here, I want to build a little switch which I can toggle between on and off. And to do this, I will build my own component which has this logic in it. Let's start with that. To build our own component, which works as an input, we have to understand what vModel does behind the scenes. I'll explain it here at the user data field. vModel does two things behind the scenes. It binds to the value with :value, or of course the longer form would be vBind value. So it binds the value of that, and it binds it of course to user data email. It also simply gives us the @input listener, or of course @change if we use the modifier, the lazy modifier. But here I'll use @input, which is the default. And here it then listens to changes, where it then simply sets user data email equal to event. That's the normal event the DOM kind of creates for us, the normal JavaScript event. There we want to get access to this element, which was the root for this event, the target, this input field, and then value. Now with this setup, what you will see is that if I go back and I enter an email address here, it still appears down there. So we get the same behavior as before. If I remove the M, it also updates there. So I got the same behavior. Now that's my manual vModel. It's the same thing vModel does behind the scenes, but just now in the longer form. I'll leave it like this so that we can always see that. Now that we know how vModel works behind the scenes, we know how our own component has to work to be able to be usable with vModel. It has to have a prop named value, so that vModel is able to pass a value into our component, and it has to emit an event called input to allow vModel to react to that. Well, with these two information pieces, we can create our own component. I'll name it switch. So a switch.view file will house it. Here I'll have a template, and I'll need a script, and I'll also need some styling. Style, like that. With that, let's work on our own component, set up a nice little template, HTML template and styling, and then add the JavaScript logic to make it work correctly.